You're listening to The Scrimmage with Daniel Hargrove and Justin Domashevitz.
I'm Daniel Hargrove. I'm here with my co-host, not any of you guys, but I'm with my co-host right here as I just put his head around. Yeah, there we go. That baby. Anchor that baby Hargrove. Yeah.
Two-minute drill.
Just
I think he's right.
Yeah, it's a good point.
all right. I think I may have fixed it.
Hello.
Yep.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Everyone can hear me now.
Are we live?
Yep.
Thank
We're
you
live.
to assistant producer Hannah for helping us realize and fix that issue. Even though I still maintain that it may have been a better show overall if no one could hear me. But as I was saying, this is The Scrimmage. It's brought to you by Ole Penn Real Estate and the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz for now, until they listen to this episode and pull their sponsorships. I am Justin Domashevitz. Daniel Hargrove is joining us via Skype with That Baby as a special guest co-host, and producer Andrew here with us, trying his best to make us sound good, even though I think there's a strong possibility our equipment is haunted. Because it was making some weird noises when we were trying to get going.
Anchor thinks that's pretty funny too.
So we got a Seahawks topic. We've got an Arizona Cardinals topic. We're going to get Andrew's thoughts on spring training, and we have a full local sports roundup, and then something a little special that we've been teasing for the last few weeks about some players who may have been snubbed as athletes of the week during the winter sports season. So let's kick it off with the 2-minute drill.
Let's go, hurry up! Gotta hurry. Hey, 2-minute situation, 44 seconds, hand the ball around. Gonna do it right. 3 jet Buckeye, don't worry.
The 2-minute drill starts now.
Kelvin Beachum said in an interview on Wednesday that his quarterback Kyler Murray needs to grow up a little bit. Beachum added, "I think if he has the ability and the willingness to grow up, he's going to be just fine." Justin, is this a problem for the Cards?
I think that the Cardinals have not made any real bones about hiding the fact that Kyler Murray is a little immature and maybe he doesn't work that hard. Like, the guy is a dynamite athlete, but it takes more than that to be successful as an NFL quarterback. If it was a different position, it's a different story, but as a quarterback, you need to be the leader of the team. The team has already told us via his contract, we can't get this guy to work hard. He already chased the coach out of town, who was supposed to be the guy who was going to unlock him. And now one of his offensive linemen, whose job literally is to protect him, is saying, yeah, this guy needs to grow up a little bit publicly.
That's not a short joke?
This is That's a good point. It could be. He's only 5'10". This is a problem for the Cardinals. They have a ton of money invested in this guy. He's eating up a huge amount of their salary cap, and if they are going to be successful, he's going to need to mature and be a leader of this team. The Seattle Seahawks signed Geno Smith to a 3-year, $105 million contract to stay on as the team's quarterback. Daniel, is this a good deal for the Hawks?
I thought it was a good deal before that news came out that there's a chance that they can just ditch it after the first year. Isn't that what I saw?
Yeah.
There's a huge caveat in that contract. So I thought it was a good deal before that, though. 3 years, $105 million. For quarterbacks in this market, that's actually a pretty good deal, which is crazy to say, but I think that it would have worked out even if they didn't have that little get out of jail free card in there as well.
Andrew, bats are being swung and pitches are being thrown. What's going on at Mariners spring training this week?
Baseball.
No!
I'm sorry.
Buzz yourself.
I'm so lost here.
Buzz
Hold
yourself.
on. I've got everything on one screen, and I could not find it.
I'll admit, Daniel, when I first saw that Geno Smith contract, I was like, $100 million seems like a lot. But seeing where that average per year stacks up, it's like 10th in the league for current quarterback deals for average per year. And then there was that huge number floated out that $52 million is what he gets in the first year.
That's
and then
with incentives. So
that's with incentives and the bonus that the Seahawks would have to pick up prior to the second year. So as more details come out, which is number one, the Seahawks could potentially, if things go very poorly this year, they can get out from under this contract for $28 million in 1 year. And then $30 million of this $105 million is incentives. So if he doesn't perform well, and even if he does stick around all 3 years, he's only getting an average of $25 million a year. So it went from me thinking, like seeing the initial number and going, I like it, but it's borderline, to feeling like it's a total slam dunk for the team. And then on top of that, Geno Smith comes out making comments about how, if the team wants to draft a quarterback, I'm totally fine with that. I want to compete with anybody, and I'll be happy to help mentor him. And I was like, what? That's not what we hear from quarterbacks anymore. It's like, hey, it's not my job to mentor that other guy. It's my job to go out there and compete for wins. And at least what he's saying, you're hearing all the right things from Geno Smith.
Absolutely. No, I saw that comment too. And it was like, on one hand, it was a little bit of a surprise, like you mentioned, just because that's not the norm of what we hear. But on the other hand, it would be really weird if a guy who went up through the ranks in his position didn't say that. Like, could you imagine being Geno Smith and having all of these people help you and being that type of player who needed to have that help and all those and the second chances to get where he is, and then just be like, no, I'm not going to help anybody. This is my job now. It'd be a little bit odd. So I'm glad that he said that, because it just makes too much sense.
We do have a few comments coming in from Francis on the feed. I'm not going to read all of them, but
I'll read the ones that you don't read.
One of them said that the show would be much better if I was silent. One of them is advocating for Anchor and saying that he may be coming after Uncle Andrew's job.
He's welcome.
Andrew's having a bit of a nightmare today, partly because there was a mistake in the computer, and partly because our equipment is haunted, and partly because he has to work with Daniel and me. So there's a lot of things working against him there, but he managed to get it all together.
Yep.
He also says we have 27 minutes to wrap this up because the final round of the Waco Charity Open is going to go live. # Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Who cares?
Andrew,
I don't know.
It's Waco?
I said it wrong on purpose.
It's Wacko.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's actually it's Wacko.
I mean, every now and then you say a word weird, and it surprises me.
It's an acronym. There is not a correct way to say it.
I told you, it's Wacko.
Oh, okay.
It's WACO.
It was like the name of a town.
In Texas.
No, that's Waco, Texas.
Ooh-wee.
It's Waco. Is the town in Texas.
Was there anything else from these topics you want to talk about, Daniel? Did you have anything from Mariners spring training? Because all we really learned from that question, which I threw in at the last minute without giving Andrew any opportunity to prepare for it, was they're playing baseball.
I can expand on that a little bit. The
Okay.
World Baseball Classic is going on. There are tons of Mariners starters that are not in camp now because they're playing for that. Off the top of my head, Teoscar, the new outfielder that we traded for we got from the Blue Jays.
Yep.
Julio, they're both playing for Dominican Republic. Matt Festa is playing for the Italian team. Harry Ford is playing for England. There's several others.
Matt Brash is Canada.
Oh yeah, Matt Brash is playing for Canada.
Wait, England, like Great Britain has a team in the World Baseball Classic?
Yeah, apparently.
Huh.
I don't know how Harry Ford connects with Great Britain.
His
but
parents are British, I believe. Like his
Gotcha,
parents
yeah.
are British citizens.
We're hearing from off mic that this is the first time Great Britain has ever had a team.
Oh,
When I heard that, actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I saw something on Twitter that was a picture of their jerseys.
Oh.
And it says literally somebody just dropped is it
that
Ariel?
was Jake from John Boy Media.
Their jersey is the most generic looking thing I've ever seen in my
It's
life.
bad.
It looks like somebody typed it with a typewriter just onto the
Yep.
onto the jersey.
But good for them for getting involved.
I guess. I mean, didn't we defeat England like a couple hundred years ago? Like, how many more times do we need to prove it against them?
Now we finally got him playing our sport. So
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say, they've been trying to get us to play cricket, probably.
One thing I was curious about, Andrew, and you've been watching spring training, and Daniel, I'm sure you're following.
It's so
these
hard
things.
to watch spring training games. Half of them aren't even televised, and the other half are only televised by the other team. It's the worst.
So have you guys been paying attention to what's going on with the pitch clock and how that has adjusted things? Because I'm seeing things like guys throwing out things like, a full inning was completed in the amount of time it took somebody to throw 3 pitches in this one game so long ago. And games that would have normally taken 4 hours are taking less than 3 hours. Has that affected the way you guys enjoy the games? Do you feel like the faster the pitch clocks have made it so there's more action and you have to wait less time for there to be more action?
Baseball is significantly more difficult to watch while not paying attention now,
Okay.
in my opinion.
oh yeah,
So you're saying it as a
used
negative.
to be, it's both a negative and a positive. It is more interesting to sit and watch, but you can't have it on in the corner and be like, oh, so and so's up, go into the kitchen, get something to drink, feed the dog, come back and see the end of the at bat. That can't happen now.
Because that's an interesting point too, because that's part of what I like about baseball is the leisure of it.
Yes, I have mixed feelings about it because of that. Like it doesn't last for all afternoon now.
And it makes for a more... See, that's a part of the problem for me is like the idea of investing 4 games or 4 hours into watching a baseball game is probably not going to happen. But realistically, like, baseball, you're checking in and out. Like, you're not going to sit there and watch 4 hours. Like you're saying, Andrew, it's kind of on in the background. You're doing other projects while the game is going on. Maybe you even listen on the radio.
I love to listen all afternoon on the radio. It sucks not to have that.
Exactly. But from like a straight up like television product standpoint, there's only positives for making the action happen quicker. See, Anchor agrees.
I have Jeff Passan a couple days ago tweeted some comparisons. Spring training 2022 versus 2023. Time of game last year, the average time of game was 3 hours and 1 was 10.6 runs per game. This year it's averaging 11, so slightly up. Stolen bases attempts per game last year was 1.6. This year 2.4. Pretty significant.
That's a big
jump. Batting average on balls in play. This is honestly, I think, the big one that we want to see go up because that's the action, the fun baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Batting average on balls in play last year on ground balls was 235. This year it's 258.
That's a big difference.
Yeah. And then
that's got to be the shift, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's pretty much straight up the shift. And then the strikeout rate last year was 23.9%, and this year it's 23.1%. So I don't think that's a huge change.
Well, spoken as a guy who has watched maybe during spring training a collective amount of maybe 30 minutes of baseball, I would applaud the rule changes. For what we want to see is balls in play and guys on base.
Yes.
You get balls in play, you've got defensive plays happening, that's where action is. You got guys on base, there's more action. Hopefully if there are more guys on base, there'll be more guys stealing base. I feel like
the bases are slightly bigger, so that's part of why we're seeing more steal attempts. Is there also
and the pickoff rules?
Yeah, the pickoff rules.
Well, why don't you guys break down the pickoff rules for me a little bit? Because is it just that you can only pick off? Is there a limit then to how many times you can pick off?
Yeah.
Do you know them off the top of your head, Daniel?
Is it 3 times?
I think after 2, the third time that you go. If you try to pick him off, if you don't get him out, it's a balk.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So then to me, that it's kind of an unfair advantage in a way. But if you're like a really fast guy, and you can just bait the pitcher into trying to pick you off a couple times, then you can almost do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like, and we've seen also the rules with the pitch clock. I saw a video about Max Scherzer. And how he's playing mind games with the pitch clock. Like, the pitch clock, in a way...
He is absolutely a psycho.
If pitchers use it to their advantage, if they have gamesmanship with it, they can actually do... they can really get batters off balance with it. Because there was one where he waited the maximum amount of time on the rubber, just staring the batter down, till the batter took his timeout. He can't take a timeout again. And... he gets right back on the rubber, and then as soon as he's allowed to, the pitch is in there. You can tell the guy's not close to ready for it. Like, there are ways that these players are going to find to manipulate these rules to benefit them, and I'm all for all of that.
Yeah. The one thing I don't like, because there was a game that ended, full count, bases loaded, down by 1, and pitch clock violation struck the guy out. I personally, so far, the pitch clock seems fine and fun. I don't want it to mess with the end of games. So I would say take out the pitch clock in the 9th inning. That's usually, or 9th inning or extra innings. You love, as a baseball fan in those situations, I love the drama building.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If a guy's going to step out and take 3 deep breaths and think for a while, what's going to happen here? That's just letting the drama build, and you're getting your stomach to tie up in knots more, going, oh, what's going to happen on this next pitch? I don't need it to be like, oh, we better get back in the box really quick, and, oh, we better be looking at the pitcher really quick, and, oh, here comes the pitch, and, oh, he didn't do that. Oh, that's how the game ends. That seems like a really bad look. But MLB has showed that they don't care if it's a bad look, and they like ghost runners on second base for no reason. So now that they've done this, I'm sure everything will just stay.
Do you guys have anything else on baseball? I know at some point we're going to have to do our Mariners preview with Sean.
Yeah, we do need to do that. I am going to Arizona this week for what it's worth. So I'll report back in a couple weeks with... Did
you get a media credential?
No.
We should have tried for that.
I should have.
We should have tried for... Hannah, are you going too? Yeah. We should have gotten you both a media credential.
Yeah. I don't know if it's an option or not.
I mean, we can apply for it. I don't know if it would be approved.
The only other thing that I would report is that Jared Kelnick's still tearing it up.
Yeah. Which is exciting. Not... The numbers are just numbers. They don't really mean anything. What's exciting is that his approach seems to be different and working for him.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's move on to my favorite part of the show.
Or my favorite part of the show.
Serving questions up on a silver
platter.
I
didn't tell Andrew about this at all, but I think I'm gonna hijack Stump Daniel unless you got something really good.
That's why you have a pen in your hands. You never have a pen in your hands. Okay. All right.
Oh, is this showing that it's backwards?
No, it looks forwards.
It looks forwards.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it just shows you it backwards. It's very weird.
There we go. There we go. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Did the intro play? I can't hear the music.
Yeah, you talked over the intro.
He played it right after I said my favorite part of the show. And then while it was playing, you said, or my favorite part of the show. So Andrew was too quick on the trigger there, really.
Oh my God.
It's Andrew's fault.
I'm sorry. I'm hurting the show. All right, Justin. So last week, you hassled me so much that finally I said, fine, I'll watch Encanto tonight.
Oh.
So,
Encanto.
Since you know everything about
Encanto.
I have some Encanto trivia for you here in this episode of Stump Justin.
Oh boy.
Now, there are 3 easy questions that are worth 1 point,
Okay.
3 medium questions worth 2 points,
Okay.
and 3 hard questions worth 3 points.
Did you agree it's a beautiful story?
It's a good story. I don't know if I like it. There's not many characters that I am not extremely disappointed with after watching it. No, like, wait, what? How did you treat this person that way?
I mean, it all goes right back to Abuela. Like, if you look at just the way that she made everyone's life, like they are molded by her. So there's a chance for redemption for all of them except for the monster Abuela.
All right. So if you get 14 to 18 points, then you're in the Tar Heel zone. If you get 8 to 13 points, you're in the Red Raider zone. If you're at 4 to 8 points, then you are, what is it, the Wolfpack zone of NC State?
Yeah.
And if you're 0 to 4 points,
then I'm in hell. I'm in hell.
You're in
literal
what did
AT
they call
double
it?
hockey
What did they
sticks.
call it?
The Devil's Lair.
The Devil's Lair.
Yeah, the Duke zone.
And when I say hell there, it doesn't count as a curse because I'm talking about the actual place.
Yep. I will give you, I'm not sure how I'll give a hint, but I will try so you can have 1 hint, maybe 2.
Okay.
Probably 2 hints.
All right.
Would you like to start out with the easy questions, the medium ones, or the hard ones?
Easy. Let me warm
Okay.
up.
All right. In which country is Encanto set?
Dominican Republic? Venezuela.
Oh, no. That was supposed to be one of the easy questions, Justin.
Where is it?
Colombia.
Oh.
And he got two answers in and was still wrong.
That's not a good start, Justin. Okay. Another easy question?
Yeah.
What's Abuela's real name?
Hades.
Okay, I'm glad that... What?
Hades. Lucifer.
Do you actually not know?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, I'm glad that those were... Okay, so I went and looked up Encanto trivia, and those were both listed under the easy questions, and I was like, man, I know I've only seen this once, but that seems kind of hard.
You know, when you said Colombia, I kind of remembered that. I don't know if they mentioned that the whole movie, though. Is it something you're just supposed to know? And
I don't know.
Yeah.
And her name is Alma.
Beelzebub.
I didn't remember. All right, this one I think is actually an easy Encanto question.
Okay. Encanto.
Which you need. Which instrument is Luisa asked to bring to the engagement party?
A guitar.
Dude, are you serious? Are you purposely failing this?
No, no, I'm not. In full disclosure, I've watched the movie twice, and I've listened to the soundtrack about 6 times.
Okay.
For bonus points, you can sing the entire soundtrack.
I'm going to feel really dumb, though, if I don't get any questions right, because I went really hard at you to watch this movie. Like, I
really hard.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised. See, I even remember this one. Again, I probably watched it more recently than you have, but it's a piano.
Okay.
Remember,
that makes
Luis's
way more
asked
sense
to go
because she's a giant, strong person, and carrying a
and then
guitar
he
is
starts
something anyone could do.
Yes. All right. So, Justin, you're 0 for 3 on the easy questions, man.
Okay. I'm going to hell.
All right. The medium ones.
Okay.
What type of plant did Isabella make that wasn't perfect?
It was some kind of cactus thingy.
Yes, correct. You got 2 points.
Okay.
Justin,
And then she
you
said,
only need-
"What else can I do?" Like that.
Yeah, which was weird. You only need 3 more points to get out of hell.
Okay.
I'm
Thank
rooting
you.
for you.
Okay.
Okay. How old are the madrigals when they get their gifts?
Good question. I want to say
Not a great question, but a good question.
I want to say 12.
See, that would have made much more sense to me, but apparently they were 5?
No. No.
Right?
No. Okay.
All right,
Oh,
still not
duh,
going
because
well.
the kid who talks to animals just got his gift, and he was just a little guy. He was only knee-high to a grasshopper.
It was. Okay. The last medium question, and I hope that you know this since you said you've listened to the soundtrack
Okay.
however many dozens of times. Who wrote the original? Do you know that? Isn't 12 dozen a gross?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you were right.
Who wrote?
That's a weird
Okay,
flex, though.
I thought-
Like, guess what? I know how many a gross is. That'd be like if somebody said 10 years and you were like, oh, halfway to a score.
Oh,
Daniel's
get your
feeling
kicks
good.
in because this is not going well for you.
Okay.
Who wrote the original songs in Encanto? And as soon as I read this, I was like, oh, that totally makes sense.
It's Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yes. Correct.
Hamilton.
Yep. And our favorite song, both yours and mine favorite song, Surface Pressure.
Yeah.
As soon as I read that, I was like, oh yeah, obviously he wrote that song.
Yeah.
All right.
How many
3
points do I
hard
have? Am I out of
questions.
hell yet?
Nope, you have 4 points,
Okay.
and you need 1 more point to get out of hell.
So we're literally playing for my eternal soul right now.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What does the Spanish word Encanto mean? Now, I hope you get this because me, the first time watching it, was like, I wonder what that means. And so I looked it up.
I did not wonder what it means. But I could take a guess based on the movie. Does it mean caterpillar?
You know, when you don't know something, you really just go ham, don't you?
Does it mean ham?
No. It means high appeal or charm.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't going to get that. I'm glad I went with
Interesting.
caterpillar.
All right. What does Abuela have that is butterfly related?
A necklace.
Andrew, is a pendant close enough to a necklace for that to count?
A pendant
Is it what you
you
wear it
wear
around
on a
her neck?
necklace. So yeah, I do think that counts. Assuming she wears it around her neck. You could have a pendant that hangs somewhere else, but
Encanto, Abuela, necklace. I'm just gonna search it. For this.
Justin is on the edge of his seat.
I don't.
I would say that it would depend on whether, like, how she wears or uses it.
Or is it just kept, like, by the candle that burns? Or, like, I don't remember it.
I don't remember it either.
That's why it's one of the 3-point questions.
She's definitely not wearing a necklace.
But does it look like, if you look at the butterfly pendant, does it look like it could be a necklace? Like, is it on a chain? I'll be the judge here on whether this counts or not.
Well, your eternal soul's at risk. Let me look at the last question. No, you won't get that one. Well, I'm going to go with Andrew's original ruling. Oh. He said that was close enough. So I will give it to him.
I searched for Abuela Encanto pendant, and all I'm getting is necklaces that have to do with Encanto. So I don't know. I don't feel like that's conclusive either.
Justin just got something in his eye.
It's a dog hair.
Ugh.
I got it.
All right, Justin.
We should give Justin partial credit, like half a point, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, well, 1.5 points gets me out of the devil's lair, so I'm happy with that.
That's true. Okay, so Justin, last question.
Yeah.
What are the first words spoken in the movie?
Ooh, like, is it doors, floors, drawers?
Close. I mean, not close. But that
terrible guess.
Part of the movie.
So you meant not the song, not because it starts with the song, right?
No, I'm pretty sure it starts with like the history.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah. So you're wrong.
Boy.
But you squeaked out of the Dookie zone.
You know, for a movie,
5.5 points.
For a movie that I was so insistent that you needed to watch, I really do not know very much about this at all.
Yeah, I was shocked. See, I was. By the way, the first words were "abre los ojos," which means obviously whales. No, I'm just kidding. It means open your eyes.
Oh, embarrassed I didn't get that.
Justin, I'm a little surprised. I was assuming since you liked this soundtrack and movie, you
quizzed me on lyrics to the top 5 songs from the movie, which I texted to you the other day, the power ranking of top 5 songs from that movie, then I would have gotten all of them.
You did come out with that power ranking very rapidly.
I didn't have to think about it.
Yeah.
I just went right. I know it.
Daniel was like, I'm surprised you don't have a top 5. And you were like, oh, yeah, that's this.
Maybe I'll give you a redemption opportunity with soundtrack and Encanto trivia next week.
I will listen to it every day.
This was bad. I mean, I feel bad with how bad that went.
You probably feel worse than I do.
So Justin ended up in the Wolfpack zone? Is that right?
See, here's the problem is, like, I acknowledge that I performed horribly there, but I still feel very little shame over it. Like, I know, wow, that was a bad job by me, but it's...
Yeah.
Am I just becoming too comfortable with failure?
Yeah, probably.
Huh.
Maybe.
Interesting.
It was so bad that after the first 3 questions, I thought of scrapping it. I'm just like...
Okay, well, I'm just gonna give you the stat that was gonna be the basis of my stump, Daniel, and it's something that it's not that big a deal, but I thought it was interesting that's happening in the NFL. So the Panthers traded up with the Bears to acquire the number 1 overall pick, likely to pick whichever quarterback they think is the best out of this class. It's the 7th time that that's happened since 1990, and the first time that it's happened since 2016. Off the top of your head, do you remember the quarterback that was traded that a team traded up to number 1 to pick for in 2016? You may not remember it because I didn't remember it, but when you hear it, you're going to go, oh, yeah. You'll remember that it happened.
I don't off the top of my head.
It was the Rams trading up for Jared Goff.
Hold on, I got a sound for that.
And then the last time it happened, there's a 15-year gap, and the last time it happened before that was the Falcons trading up in 2001 to pick Michael Vick.
Ooh.
And then the next 3 guys who were on this list since 1990 to be traded up to get number 1 were Rams for Orlando Pace. He was an offensive lineman. Bengals for Keyjana Carter, who was a running back, really weird. And then in 91, the Cowboys traded up to get a defensive tackle, Russell Maryland. And the only other quarterback on this list was 1990, the Colts trading up to number 1 to get Jeff George.
Huh.
The big arm bad quarterback.
Who would you say is the most successful player out of that?
Oh, probably Michael Vick.
Michael Vick.
Well, Orlando Pace was really good.
Orlando Pace was really good for a long time.
But isn't he the guy who got hit in the eye by the referee's flag and it ruined his career?
Oh, did it ruin his career?
I don't remember that for sure, but I would say, I mean, it's hard with Michael Vick because it's kind of a tale of 2 careers and just a big bad middle where he was in jail.
At least he had the talent to warrant that move.
I think Russell Maryland was also really good.
Okay.
But we're talking 90s Cowboys, so he was probably part of those Super Bowl teams.
Orlando Pace, I believe, is in the Hall of Fame, and he's also part of the All-Decade team of the 2000s.
Yeah, so. I do remember him as being really good. Maybe I'm getting the wrong Orlando lineman that got hit in the face by the ref's flag, but yeah. Anyway, that was going to be mine, but we did something different, and I failed, and let's move on. So we have local sports roundup.
That was Orlando Brown.
Oh, okay.
Oh wow, this is awful.
Yeah. Well, it was something like his family had a history of eye problems, and then he got hit in the eye because they used to have little BBs in the referee flags. And it hit him in the eye, the ref threw it at his face, and it hit him in the eye, and he had a real issue with it.
Yeah, but it gets worse. He's died at the age of 40.
Oh. Hopefully not from that flag.
Yeah, agreed. But that was back in
diabetes.
2011.
Oh, 2011. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Sidetrack, that's okay. So we're going to do an Ole Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week, a local sports roundup, and give you the list of the athletes who were snubbed during the winter sports season. But first, let's take our commercial break. Do you have a legal situation and need someone on your side? Let the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz be your advocate. If you've been the victim of medical malpractice, suffered a personal injury, or need representation with real estate law, small business law, or estate planning, let Jeff Domashevitz put his 29 years of experience to work for you. Call Jeff Domashevitz today at 360-612-3991 or visit domashevitzlaw.com. That's DAMASIEWICZLAW.com. Thank you for listening to The Scrimmage. I'm Justin Domashevitz. Daniel Hargrove here with us via Skype. And it looks like that baby's gone, but he was there. That baby was there with Daniel Hargrove and Andrew Gross, our producer here, working through a whole bunch of obstacles to try to make us sound good. And I emphasize try, because ultimately there may be no making us sound good. As I mentioned, we will have local sports roundup, and it's going to be broken into a couple sections because there was some that I was able to prepare for and write little paragraphs for, and then some that I'm just going to have to read. But I want to make sure we give you all the results that I have. So let's kick it off with almost a complete Montesano Bulldog local sports roundup. A pair of Montesano Bulldog athletes committed to play sports at the collegiate level this week. 3-sports standout Mateo Sanchez will continue his soccer career at California State University Maritime Academy, otherwise known as Cal Maritime. Sanchez, who is a state champion wrestler and a defensive league MVP in football, just started his senior season of soccer, in which he was a first-team all-league midfielder as a junior. Also, after placing second at state this year, Monty's Cole Eckerson has committed to wrestle at Arizona Christian University. Eckerson was a first-team all-league safety for Montesano's football team and is the reigning 1A League Defensive Player of the Year in soccer.
Wow, that's a good soccer team.
Yeah.
Montesano's baseball team opened the season with a 10-1 win over North Mason. Camden Taylor started the game on the mound for the Bulldogs. Skylar Bovey and Jackson Booz pitched in relief. Booz picked up the win, pitching 3 scoreless innings and striking out 4 batters. The senior also recorded 2 hits, scored twice, and drove in a run. Athlete of the week? Bodie Poehler hit 2 singles, walked twice, stole a base, and scored twice, doing Bodie things.
Montesano's and Elma's boys soccer teams kicked off their season on Saturday with wins at Roddle Field during the 2023 Men's Soccer Spring Showcase. Montesano defeated Royal 2-1. Take that, Royal. Nothing royal about that city. With goals by Christopher Tobar and Giovanni Torres with an assist from Mateo Sanchez. Elma beat Waluke, I hope I said that right, 2-0. Kaysen Seberg scored once, and Amador Ramirez also scored off an assist by Seberg. So we have a couple of Athlete of the Week potential players there. Jackson Booz getting the win, 3 scoreless innings with 4 strikeouts, also getting 2 hits, 2 runs, and an RBI. I think he stole a base. I don't remember if I put that in there or not. Then we have for Elma in a 2-1 win, Kaysen Seberg with a goal and an assist. So that's kind of a big deal, of a good way to kick off your season. I also have a couple things I'm going to read off. One is some Grays Harbor goals updates here, and there's going to be a few Athlete of the Week nominees out of this. In their girls U14, they picked up their first win of the season, 6-0. We had Michaela with an assist, Hannah with an assist, Natalie with a goal, Arani with a goal, Zippy with a goal and an assist, and Anna with 3 goals. So we got a hat trick and a 6-0 win. So Anna, potential Athlete of the Week there. In boys U14, they picked up a 10-1 win. Now this is the boys U14 Division II team. You'll remember some of these names here. Hebron, who was it 3 goals last 4? He had a really good game last week, and we talked about him. 3 goals. We talked about him for Athlete of the Week. Well, Hebron had 2 goals and an assist. Christian had 1 goal. Yvonne had 2 assists. Luis had 4 goals and an assist for that Division 2 goals team. JB had a goal and 2 assists, and Michael had 2 goals and 2 assists. To where now I think we're starting to see through the beginning here where it was like last season, which I guess would be the fall season. Whatever their last season was, Michael was just scoring all the goals, and there's a lot more guys contributing for this team here. But 4 goals and an assist for Luis, another Athlete of the Week contender. For boys U14 Division 4, they picked up their first win of the season, 5-2. Trevin, which is another Athlete of the Week potential player there. Trevin had 3 goals and an assist. Luis had a goal and an assist. Teo had an assist. Julio with a goal, and Emilio with an assist. The girls, this is a really interesting one. So the girls U19 team, which this is one we've kind of followed because some of the girls who play soccer in our local high schools play on this team as well. A lot of the girls were at something for softball this week. So they played with only 8 players in the first half and only 9 in the second half. And they played to a 4-4 draw. So they remained undefeated and are still at the top of the league playing short-handed. They played to a 4-4 draw, which is absolutely incredible. Bethany had 2 goals. That's Bethany Henderson of Montesano. Jemima had a goal in this game, which I was sent a video of Jemima's goal, and it was incredible. She was really far out on the right side, and she hooked it into the left side of the net past the goalie really high. It was a great shot. Also a goal from Grace with assists from Bethany and Miley. So another potential Athlete of the Week there for Bethany in this shorthanded game. 2 goals and an assist to help her shorthanded team stay at the top of the league. In girls U9, they suffered a 4-1 loss, but Miley had a solo goal and she was voted the player of the match by the coaches, and people were just really impressed with her performance overall in that game. And then in the U19 NPSL, they suffered a 4-0 loss. So several players to look at for Athlete of the Week nominations for that one. And then the final update we had was for girls U11 for the goals. 1-1 tie. Miley scored off an assist from Ellie. And they're playing another game today, but we won't have it in time for results for that. The other thing I wanted to cover, and we're very early in these spring sports seasons. Baseball and soccer for a couple of the teams just started literally yesterday. So some of the information came out on the Daily World. Other information I had to track down by texting coaches and people who were there. But I have to apologize if your baseball team or your softball team started and I didn't know. It's because I looked in the newspaper. There was nothing there yet. I promise you we'll be covering lots of baseball, lots of softball, lots of track as this season progresses. But we did have the Jamboree for track at Montesano High School on, I believe it was Thursday. And there's a ton of local athletes who ended up at the top in all these different events. So I'm just going to go through some of these. In the 100 meters, let's see, the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 were all from Aberdeen. The top 7 in the 100 meters. And this is a loaded event. What? There was 42 kids who participated in this event. And the top 7. Exactly. Luke Nemi was number 1. He ran a 12.08. Trey Anderson right behind him at a 12.27. Micah Schroeder third. Brandon Newcomb fourth. Cordell Roberts fifth. Nolan Cook sixth. And Caleb Schemelfenig in at 7th. Those are all Aberdeen kids.
I mean, I recognize a few of those names.
Yeah.
And, obviously the football players, but Micah Schroeder I coached in baseball as well.
He's fast. He's just a
sophomore.
Yeah.
He's only a sophomore.
It shows him as a freshman on here.
Oh, right. It's not next year yet. Yeah, he's only a freshman.
Yeah, and also, since we're talking about freshmen, Cordell Roberts,
it's still early in the year, Daniel.
The kid who finished 9th, Cordell Roberts, also only a freshman. Moving on to the 400 meters, the first place was Jesse Anderson from Montesano. That's definitely a name we know. He was really successful in track last year. He ran a PR of 53.55 on the 400 meters. Right behind him, we had Henry Nelson from Aberdeen and Will Bowling from Aberdeen. In the 1600 meters, Aberdeen's Will Bowling took first. And in Montesano's Eric Jacklin took second. Those guys are both seniors and both guys that I think for the distance runs, we're going to hear those names a lot this season. In the shot put, Jabron Brooks, no surprise here, big strong guy. Jabron Brooks took first place with a throw of 49 feet 7 inches, which is a PR for him, and a couple of Bobcats right behind in Tyler Bates and Jeremy Sawyer. I don't know if Jeremy's done throwing events before. He's been a sprinter in the past. There might be like a little crossover there where maybe he has thrown before. It's possible this is his first venture into throwing events, but he threw a 37 feet 2 inches and finished third in the shot put. In the discus, we had Gabe Bodwell from Montesano finishing second with a throw of 119.3, and Jabron Brooks from Aberdeen right behind him. And in the long jump from Elma, Elijah Flores took first, and then we had Isaac Garcia from Aberdeen in third. And moving on to the girls' results, here's another name we know from basketball, Brooklyn Patrick from Willapa Valley, finishing first with a personal best, 13.61 in the 100 meters, with Lily Causey right behind her from Montesano, and then Emily Wilson, also from Willapa Valley, in third. In the 400 meters, we had from Aberdeen, Solvig Kvarsvik? Maybe an exchange student, not sure. But she finished second for Aberdeen, and then Samantha Schweppe from Montesano right behind her in third. In the 600 meters, here we see Schweppe again, this time in first place, and then Lily Schweppe right behind Samantha Schweppe there, finishing second place in the 1600 meters. In shot put,
to get a little bit better, they might Schweppe the event.
Oh boy. I like it. In shot put, and here's definitely another name, Daniel, that you and I know. First place in shot put from Montesano High School, a senior, Hannah Bruland. with a throw of 28 feet 2 inches. Hannah has been really grinding. Like I've seen like some of the workout videos and stuff. Like she's a total beast. So I'm hoping that we'll see lots of success for her this season. And then also for Montesano in third place, Willow Valentine. In the discus, again, Hannah Bruland in first place from Montesano with a throw of 84 feet 9 inches. And Sam Sheary from Willapa Valley in third. In the long jump, here's Zoe Tro for Aberdeen with a 13 feet and 8 inch jump, with Ashlyn Devereaux from Montesano behind her. And then another Tro, Annie Tro in third for Aberdeen. And that will conclude the results from the Jamboree. When track season starts and meets start, we will definitely have more results, and we'll definitely have some athletes of the week out of track. The Jamboree is much more of a time for kids to kind of warm up and get ready for competition.
Did we talk about the powerlifting event at all last week?
We didn't, because that powerlifting event was like a few weeks ago now. So we talked about it a little bit when it happened. Like I talked about the fact that I was there.
It was 2 weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it feels like a million years ago. When I saw that article in the newspaper, I was like, that was a long time ago. I'm glad it was in there. There's another meet coming up that's in North Beach on the 25th. So I will be at that meet, and I will do my best to make sure that I get some results from that meet as well, because we'll have lots of local powerlifters there.
You should take some pictures too.
Yeah. Well, I'll probably take some pictures, but there's another mom from Montesano that takes pictures as well. So I'll definitely have access to pictures either way.
The other thing I wanted to mention, friend of the show, who back when I used to make golf videos and do fun things, made a video with me. Grace Harbor College golfer Michael Jump has accepted, as we were speaking about people going on to the next level, he has been accepted into the PGA management program at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. So that's a big deal. So I wanted to make sure that we mentioned that as well. Michael graduated from Hoquiam High School, and like I said, him and Nolan King, who graduated from Aberdeen, did that video with me. What was that? Probably about a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. Two really fun kids, and there's a picture of Michael, who's the team captain this year for that Grace Harbor College men's golf team this year, pointing at his card a round of 70, which is just stupid. So,
Daniel, did I see? Do you have that article open? It said in that article what his average score was this year, and I remember thinking it was just like an obscene number.
It is. It's 72.7.
Okay, I almost said, is it 72.7? But I was like, no, that's too low. It can't be that. This kid is the real deal. And that UNLV program, it seems like, and I read the article as well. I apologize for not including it in the roundup. I should have. But I feel like I read that that's like a stepping stone to becoming a golf pro. So, like, I don't mean that to necessarily say that he's going to become a PGA golfer, but, like, all golf courses everywhere have pros that work there, that, you know, they do like instructions and all kinds of stuff. So that means like you could go literally make a good living in golf for your career. Like, what's cooler than that for somebody who loves golf? So that is a really big deal.
Yeah. So I just wanted to bring that up. And yeah, that's I saw the weightlifters and I saw that, and I forgot that the weightlifters was so long ago.
Yeah, and when we talked about it, I didn't give we gave team results. I didn't give individual results. If there's anything that you wanted to give out of that, I know there was a couple of first place finishers for Montesano. That also wasn't like there wasn't a ton of other local kids. Montesano had a ton of kids. Elma had a few. Yeah. There wasn't a huge amount of local kids there, and it was also like first meet of the year. But I will definitely have more info, more results for this North Beach one that's coming up as well.
Yeah. Well, I'll just list off the first place finishers then. Montesano's Nathan Mawa. Yeah. Mawa. Lifted 685 total pounds to take the 123 weight class, and then in the women's competition, Montesano's Rosie Newbill took the 105 weight class with 300 total pounds. So,
yeah. There was a third place finisher in there that was really impressive too. I just want to point that out. Peyton Domashevitz, no relation, took third place in the 181 weight class, but no big deal. But as I said, like as the season goes on, we're gonna have a lot more results on a lot of these seasons as they ramp up. The only two things we have left on the show are to name an Ole Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week, which I think is gonna be pretty tough. I don't even know for sure as I say this which direction I'm leaning, if I'm being honest. But we have that, and then we also have the Athlete of the Week snubs from the winter sports season, which I'm super excited to reveal. Which players did we fail in not giving an Athlete of the Week to during the winter sports season? But before we do that, let's take one last quick commercial break.
Oh, here we go.
Yay!
At Ole Penn Real Estate, we have solidified our foundation on 4 core values. First, we continuously focus on growing our knowledge in the market and in our practices to bring the highest level of competency to our clients. Second, we provide a high level of integrity, compassion, and kindness in every aspect of our business. Third, we put the human element above business through humor, enthusiasm, and patience. And last but not least, we proactively respond to the needs of our clients. Our mission is to create a personal real estate experience, one person and one home at a time. With Ole Penn, it's personal.
Welcome back to the scrimmage. Daniel Hargrove got his face as close as possible to the screen if you're watching at home. Daniel, do you want to do snubs first and then circle back to Athlete of the Week so we have more time to think about it, or do you want to go right into Athlete of the Week? And do you have a direction that you're leaning?
I do have a direction that I'm leaning.
I have a bulldog that I'd like to name Athlete of the Week. Are you shocked?
What?
I said I have a bulldog that I'd like to name Athlete of the Week.
No, I'm not shocked, and I'm actually leaning towards a bulldog as well.
Okay.
And it's a combo of multiple stuff that he got done, if that's a hint. So.
Yeah. That's also the way I wanted to go.
But he's not a Renaissance man.
He's not Mateo Sanchez. Mateo, the Renaissance man, who got an assist. Mateo's a midfielder. So, like, Daniel, you played soccer and you were a midfielder, right?
Yep.
So, since mostly what we report is goals, how likely is a midfielder to score a goal as opposed to a forward?
I mean, not as likely. They still get their opportunities, but they are much more likely to get assists.
Okay. So I would
in my opinion.
I would like to point that out. Mateo got an assist, which is kind of what you expect midfielders to do. And he's still a Renaissance man.
That's who I'm leaning to, though. I mean, he's going to go play at the next level, so you got that announcement, and then also he gets the assist. So it's kind of a combo of those two things. I don't know. What are you thinking? Is that where you were leaning as well?
Well, I got another one so Mateo, obviously, like I'd love to give Mateo Athlete of the Week every week because Mateo's a total beast and a Renaissance man.
Yes.
I thought for an opener of a baseball team that I believe has very high expectations, the dual performance of getting the win on the mound, pitching 3 scoreless innings with 4 strikeouts for Jackson Booz, and then also getting 2 hits, a run, or was it 2 hits? 2 hits, 2 runs, and an RBI in a 10-1 win to open the season. I feel like Jackson Booz, who is probably an athlete that we would have talked more about if he'd been able to play basketball this past season. He had some knee issues, and so he wasn't able to play. But Jackson's he's a phenomenal athlete. He's one of the captains of the team as a senior, and I felt like I love the idea of giving it to a baseball player right off the bat. You know, we got a guy who I feel is very deserving, and also they kicked off their season with a big win and they played in the rain. Like Saturday, I knew when the game was supposed to be happening, so I texted my friend Steve, who has a son who plays on the team, and I was like, "Hey, did the game get rained out? Because I looked out my window and it's raining." And he's like, "No, we're playing." And then I watched some videos of things that happened during the game. It was raining. Like they played through the rain and got a sloppy 10-1 win in tough conditions and really good performance from Jackson.
Yeah, I think there's the de-escalator though that it was a 10-1 win.
Okay.
Is that bad? And then also I just now looked at it and Kaysen Seberg was a part of both of their goals.
True. That's a goal and an assist. Yep. So and actually I'll just point this one thing out. When I was going through the process of figuring out which players we had snubbed from the winter sports season, like you made the comment, hey, nobody can accuse us of being sexist. Like of the 11 athletes that were athlete of the week, I think 8 of them were girls, and the only 2 athletes who won it 3 times were both girls. Girls dominated the winter sports season. Like there was real incredible athletic accomplishments for girls during the winter sports season. But one thing people could accuse us of is being Elma-ist, because we did not have a single Elma Eagle who won an Athlete of the Week award. And I can do my typical Montesano thing and say, hey, Elma, win something. But that's not really accurate all the time. It's more just something I say. We could do this because if we're trying to break the tie and we're looking in a mirror and going, hey, we might overlook these Elma guys, maybe the right thing to do is give it to a deserving Elma Eagle player.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if Kaysen was on that list, but now that I think about it, he probably should have been, because there's at least one week where he was one of the snubs.
Well, we will get to the snub list, but actually, you know what? I think as Daniel is going to just take a quick break to help out with that baby, Andrew, we could do a thing where we completely exclude him from helping name Athlete of the Week.
Ooh.
Or we could move on to discussing the snubs and then circle back to Athlete of the Week.
Whatever you want to do.
Okay. I already sent you guys the list of top 5 most snubbed athletes. And the thing I think I want to do the most is go from 10 to 1. And I want fanfare every time. So do you have the drum roll? Like, is that easily accessible?
It is relatively easily accessible.
So I feel like a snub, like everyone kind of knows what a snub is.
Yep.
Right? Like it doesn't require a ton of explanation, but as we were kind of looking inward towards the end of basketball season and going, man, that player's really good. How did they not get an Athlete of the Week? Oh my gosh, we didn't give that kid an Athlete of the Week.
We're really bad at this.
So, like, did the timing not line up, or did we just fail in certain scenarios? But regardless, since this show exists to recognize local athletes for their hard work and their accomplishments, whatever the reason is that these kids didn't get an Athlete of the Week award, I felt like they need to be recognized for what they did. So we're going to go, Daniel. I'm going to go 10 through 1. We're going to have a drum roll every time. Are you ready for this? And then
I love it.
After we do the snubs, we're going to name an Athlete of the Week. Okay. The 10th biggest snub.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Montesano wrestler Caleb Ames is the 10th biggest snub. The notes that I have on Caleb was that he placed 7th at state for Montesano, and he wrestled for 5 years, and with every year he grew as a great athlete for the Bulldogs wrestling team, and he placed in the top 3 in several tournaments, along with placing 3rd at regionals. Also, love that kid. Caleb Ames.
Yeah, Caleb.
10th biggest snub. We have a tie at 8th.
Sorry, I figured you could introduce the thing over the drum roll.
No, that's good. I think we actually accomplished what you want. Do you want to do it again?
No, you're good.
We have a tie at 8th, and they're twins, Zoe and Annie Troe of Aberdeen girls basketball. Now, what I was told about the Troes, because I actually didn't get to watch anything except for Maddie Gore highlights from Aberdeen girls basketball, but that they were consistently supporting Maddie, who's a phenomenal scorer, and that they were often really important part of what happened defensively for Aberdeen.
Yeah, definitely they both would have been on the all-defensive team. Like, they are relentless on the defensive side of the ball and also would come up with key shots very often for that team. So, yeah, those are that's definitely making the snub list.
Okay.
Which I feel like should be called the Trace Ridgeway snub list, but he also got Athlete of the Week a ton.
Yeah.
So,
it might, honestly, since this is the inaugural list, the number one player may be the player that this is named after going forward.
That checks out.
Okay. Number 7, from Montesano High School, from the girls basketball program, Jilly Dalen. As a young player and underclass woman playing in the shadow of her senior older sister who is committed to play for the University of Minnesota, Jilly Dalen really exploded onto the scene in a way that I knew she existed. I figured she was going to be good. I did not anticipate how important a part of this Montesano girls team that went to the state quarterfinals. I didn't anticipate her being this important for that team.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was expected by the program either that this freshman would come in and break the starting lineup and really become that key force for them as really the second scorer behind her older sister.
Yeah. Okay, ready, Andrew. The number 6 most snubbed athlete by the Scrimmage from Hoquiam boys basketball, Justice Stankovic. Now, as I was just mentioning that Jilly Dalen played in the shadow of her older sister who is a senior, Justice is a really good player who played on a team with a really good player. Michael Lorton Watkins was the guy who we named Athlete of the Week at one point for Hoquiam. We named him a certified bucket getter. When you play with a guy like that, you're never going to be regarded as the best player on your team. But Justice, the time that he really had a good shot at this was, I think it was a 24-point performance in the opening round of districts against La Center when he hit like 5 or 6 3-pointers. And Justice is a really solid player. That was a really stellar performance.
Yeah, I remember that was the game that I covered, and I was like, wow, this kid just had a massive game here. That was, probably his best opportunity as he led Hoquiam in scoring, and most of the time you look at a Hoquiam box score and it's, okay, how many points did ML Dub put up? But that time it was Justice Stankovic who led the way and just had a massive game all around. So, yeah, that was definitely a snub week for him. But with the districts, there's so many games and there's so many opportunities, and I can't remember who got it that week, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was Carson Freeman, who was one of our 3-time winners, who just put up points like it was going out of style.
It was either Carson or McKinley. Honestly, I don't remember.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the next one. From Aberdeen's boys wrestling team, Talathian, otherwise known as Mookie Warness. And this is a kid where he was first in districts, he was first at regionals, he was third at state. I haven't been able to confirm this, but in our Instagram post, somebody said that he only lost 2 matches all year. One of them was a state semifinal.
Wow.
So Mookie, and we've been seeing this name because we've been talking about it during wrestling season, and I was like, I don't know who Talathian Warness is. But when Aiden Watkins called him Mookie, I was like, I remember Mookie. Because and I think he's in the 106-pound weight class. During football in grade school, he's in my son's grade, and he was this tiny little guy. Like, he was so small that he looked kind of out of place, but he was just flying all over the place, just causing mass destruction everywhere on the defensive side. No fear. And I was like, I really like watching that kid play. So I'm not surprised remotely that he's a phenomenal wrestler. Definitely on the list of one of the best wrestlers on the Harbor. Mookie, we apologize that we did not give you an Athlete of the Week award because you deserved it. You're the 5th most snubbed on the list. But moving on to the next one.
Yeah, big time stuff.
Another wrestler. This one from Elma High School's boys wrestling program, Austin Salazar, who also was first in districts, first in regionals, and I believe finished second in state in his weight class for Elma Boys Wrestling. We talked about him a little bit. We even had like a couple social media posts that included him after regionals, but we never named him Athlete of the Week, probably because we're biased against Elma, as our history proves.
It's a travesty, a shame, and a mockery.
It's a travesty-mockery. Austin Salazar, you are the fourth most snubbed athlete by this program.
Yeah, what a beast. We've seen him in multiple different sports now just dominate. I remember watching, I think it was the Hoquiam Elma game, and Hoquiam in football, and Hoquiam was pretty much like, oh, what side is he on? We're going to go the other way, every time.
Yeah, it's the big, strong, beastly kid. Okay, moving on to the next one.
I'm sorry.
And this is not only an athlete, but a sport that we totally neglected during the winter sports season, from Aberdeen's swimming program, Denny Linker. Now, for a little bit of info on Denny, I'm going to go to the text message that Rob Burns, his coach, sent us. So Denny was
First of all,
yeah, go ahead.
Bad job by us on covering swimming, because all we had to do was ask Rob. Now, also,
well, Rob could have told us more.
Us.
I mean, we did ask coaches and parents to inform us, and Rob never did.
It was texting with Rob all the time, and he was never like, "Hey, swimming." Anyway,
yeah, that's true.
Let's continue to blame our failures on other people. Let's just continue to blame our failures on other people. No, Denny was a double state qualifier. He led Aberdeen to third place in district and took second in the 200 IM. What's an IM?
Individual medley.
Individual medley.
That's where you swim down and back in every stroke.
Okay, so I'm thankful that we have a swimmer here to tell me that. Took second in the 200 individual medley in districts and scored the most points for Aberdeen High School in the regular season and the invitational meets. And as I mentioned, he was a double state qualifier. He was an individual state qualifier and part of a relay team that qualified for state for Aberdeen. So Denny, we apologize, because you are the third most snubbed athlete by the Scrimmage, and you play in the most snubbed sport by the Scrimmage during the winter sports season. So we're sorry. Moving on to the next one.
Yeah, even more than wrestling, which Justin made an apology video about.
Yeah.
I think that there's more apology videos to come.
The two next ones are the two big ones, which these are the two that I'm really slapping my forehead about. So number 2 comes from Raymond Boys Basketball. This is a kid I actually watched play once because he played against Montesano. Morgan Anderson, as a senior this year, not only eclipsed 1,000 career points, but he also was named co-league MVP in that really tough league that he plays in 2B. This kid's really good. And we snubbed him.
This one?
So, Morgan, we apologize. We snubbed you big time.
Oh, man, that's a brutal one. He might have been, he's a 1,000-point getter.
Yeah.
That's somebody who maybe should be looked at for bucket getter status, and yet we didn't even get him an Athlete of the Week.
Nope.
Yikes.
And actually the voting, because we did, just so everybody knows, this was an above board process. We had voting from 4 experts. I asked everyone for a top 5 list. Half of the people successfully gave me a top 5 list. One of them gave me a top 6 list. One of them gave me a top 7 list, Daniel. And anyway, though it worked out great. We get a chance to recognize all these different athletes. So that's how we ended up with a top 10. We voted, and the voting between 1 and 2 was really close. But to me, the number 1 most snubbed athlete feels pretty clear number 1.
Yeah.
Hoquiam girls hoops, Chloe Kennedy. And I have some stats that I texted her coach and asked me, can you send me Chloe's stats? Because a tiny bit in the back of my mind, I was thinking like, maybe they won't be that great. And then I won't feel so bad. Even though every time we talked about Chloe, we were like, 18 rebounds, 17 rebounds, 20 rebounds. And then when she only had 11 rebounds, we were like, I wonder if she was in foul trouble. Like, what's the deal? Why does she only have 11 rebounds? But Chloe's stats for the season were 13.4 points per game, 13.2 rebounds per game, also 2 blocks and 2 steals.
Dang.
She had 14 double-doubles on the season. And also she had a high of 31 rebounds against Willapa Valley, which feels like not a thing. Like, it feels like it shouldn't be possible.
Especially for a hustle stat.
And this is... Yeah, true. And if I'm being honest, that Chloe is the one I feel worst about, because she actually was nominated, like, from outside people multiple times during the season, and then every time we found a reason to give Athlete of the Week to somebody else. Chloe, we have failed you. This is a bad job by us. You are the number one most snubbed player by this program.
You know, I feel like this really comes down on Daniel especially.
I agree.
It's a Hoquiam player. Like, how are you allowing Justin to get away with picking Monty player after Monty player?
So many Bulldogs.
You know, Andrew, you're right. You're right. I have failed to embrace my role as bringing in my bias to combat his bias.
Right.
Instead, I have tried to stay unbiased, therefore letting his bias run amok.
Right.
I'm biased?
Can I say bias anymore?
I don't know.
No, you're right, though. Bad job by me, but also, I mean, we mentioned earlier, Athlete of the Week was dominated by women's basketball. Like, McKinley won it 3 times. Carson won it 3 times. I'm pretty sure Maddie won it once. Like, and the biggest snub is Chloe Kennedy. Like, the girls' basketball players this year were ridiculous. And yeah, Chloe, maybe this is the Chloe Kennedy Snub Award.
Yeah. See, this is
Is that an honor or not an honor? I feel
that's a good question. But like when we look through the list, I mean, she was the one that I was like, repeatedly, she was like continuously great, and she helped lead her team to the state playoffs. I don't know how it happened. But I would like to run down the list quickly of the athletes who were named Athlete of the Week during the winter sports season. Aberdeen girls basketball, Maddie Gore. Aberdeen girls wrestling, Zoe Vesey. Aberdeen girls wrestling, Felicia Bell. We had Kaya Roundtree, who competed in girls wrestling for Aberdeen during the regular season and Montesano during the postseason. From Montesano boys wrestling, we had Mateo Sanchez. From Montesano boys wrestling, we had Cole Eckerson. I believe he won it twice. From Montesano girls basketball was McKinley Dalen. She was a 3-time winner. From Raymond girls basketball, Carson Freeman was a 3-time winner. From Hoquiam boys basketball, Michael Lorton Watkins. From Grays Harbor College women's wrestling, we had Katie Gakin. And from Grays Harbor Gulls FC, we had Jerica Brain. Honestly, like, we did our apology to wrestling, and when we say we, I mean we named a buttload of wrestlers Athlete of the Week. We have 6 different wrestlers that won Athlete of the Week during the winter sports season. But as you mentioned, Daniel, girls basketball, we had the only 2 3-time winners were Monty's McKinley Dalen and Raymond's Carson Freeman, and then we also had Maddie Gore from Aberdeen, who was an Athlete of the Week. Thank you, that baby. I'm glad you agree with me. That'll conclude our snub coverage. I will get a post out to make sure that these kids know that we failed them. And the only thing we have left is to name an Athlete of the Week, and I got 2 ideas, and they're both Bulldogs. So we got Jackson Booz from baseball. We got Mateo Sanchez from soccer.
And Kaysen Seberg from Elma Eagles.
Oh, yeah. I forgot there was a non-Montesano option.
Yeah.
Weird.
And now realizing my failure to offset your bias.
Well, you also missed a couple of shows, and every time you missed, I just named a Monty athlete.
That's also true.
So
my vote's for Kaysen Seberg, a goal and an assist, and a 2-0 win over a school's name that we can't pronounce.
We had those guys, and we also had several Grays Harbor Gulls athletes who had great games. I'm not going to run through those performances again, but there was several great performances from Grays Harbor Gulls FC. I'm going to go in varsity action in a season-opening win. Kaysen Seberg having a part in both of his team's goals with a goal and an assist to pick up that win to open the season. I think we will go Kaysen Seberg from Elma as our Athlete of the Week this week.
Congratulations.
I mean, yeah, I kind of got backed into a corner by myself. So, but anyway,
I mean, we could go with that baby as the athlete of the week because he has learned how to catch now. So
the kid's a stud, man.
Yeah.
He'll be in the snub list.
Yeah. A couple weeks ago, some jerk brought over some new balls for him to throw around all over the house too.
He loves all of them, by the way. That's one of these.
Okay, good. Yeah. When I was there, though, he was holding the football and clutching it to his chest like he thought I was going to take it back. He wouldn't throw it.
Ball security is important to teach at a very young age.
Also, I guess I just have that thief look. Like, that guy's going to take my stuff. That was his instinct. But unless you guys have anything else, I think we can wrap it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome.
That's going to do it for our show today. So this is The Scrimmage. We are brought to you by Ole Penn Real Estate and the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz. So for my co-host, Daniel, the Grizzly Failure Hargrove.
And my co-host, Justin, the Monty Homer Domashevitz.
And our trusty producer, Andrew, probably not affiliated with the show anymore, Gross.
What?
Who typed that in there?
It was must have been Daniel.
It was from a pre-show comment.
Oh. You know what?
I don't remember that.
Let's get into it. Our equipment's haunted. We will close the show with this. Before everything was happening, and partly prior to when Daniel was on the Skype, our soundboard was making noises that were very haunting, and I did not know were possible. Andrew turned all the knobs back and forth, clicked every button in existence, and it was still haunting us. There were ghosts in our equipment going, ooh, and somehow Andrew was able to exorcise the demons from our equipment so it sounds semi-normal. I think Andrew's the champion of the day, unless the whole thing was a ruse. Like, did he make a whole bunch of issues?
This is what was happening.
It was he created the issue so that he could look like a hero when he fixed the issue. Like that episode of Archer where Cyril puts a bug into the ISIS computer system, and then it turns out he got tricked the whole time.
Yeah, I think. Oh, that's a knife.
It's more that I'm incompetent enough to create problems that I'm just barely competent enough to figure out eventually.
Okay, well, we appreciate it that you were able to fix it. So, still think we have haunted equipment, but that's going to do it for our show today. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.